Good afternoon, everyone. This is Kevin Gianni
And Maria Gianni.
and today is Friday, and we have part 2 of Donna Gates showing us how to make cultured veggies. We thought we could make it in 2 parts, but it's going to be 3. So go ahead and watch today's. Today we learn a lot about the different things that you can add to fermented foods, as well as how to make a brine that'll help the bacteria start to grow.
And what we recommend is to have, say, a glass of maybe sparkling mineral water or water with some lemon juice and some stevia, or some hot tea at the end of the meal with some stevia. And that little bit of sweet taste you're not eating sugar, but you're eating something sweet, so that flavor, that taste can be satisfied with something like stevia. Mm-hmm. And then the salty taste, of course, is easy to put in. And don't be afraid to use salt, because today we're so deficient in our adrenals are so weak, we need the salt. And can you put salt in these? Absolutely. Traditionally, for thousands of years, that's how people made them, is they put salt in to preserve. It inhibited the pathogenic ones from growing. But our method that we've kind of developed at BodyEcology is to use salt or not. If you do, you don't need nearly as much with our method. But we actually take a beneficial starter, a package of starter, and the starter has a particular bacteria called plantarum. Plantarum is an amazing bacteria that you will definitely want living inside your gut. It is antiviral, and we always need that protection. But if you should ever have to take an antibiotic, there's probably a few antibiotics that would destroy plantarum, but most antibiotics don't destroy the plantarum, and you'll end up with it still having some beneficial bacteria in your gut, and you won't have that yeast and overgrowth that can occur. So if you put in this wonderful bacteria right from the start, then it's like you're ensuring that the bacteria is there. You know what the bacteria is, and you're going to, and it's going to wake up and get going and start eating. Now I know there's not a lot of sugar in this. We're actually going to put a little bit of green apple in, give it a little bit of sugar, and I'm going to add something called Ecobloom. This is really chicory inulin, and the microflora love this, so we're going to give them some extra food to eat, and then they're going to grow like crazy. The other thing I always like to put in are some humic minerals. These are some minerals that we carry called ancient earth minerals. They're humic minerals that are from soil that are many years, millions of years ago. The soil was very, very rich. And now today our vegetables don't grow in a rich soil like that anymore. So you can just open up a few of these capsules and put them right into your brine. This is a liquid brine. You can put the microflora into that brine. You can put the minerals into that brine, and then they particularly like these minerals because they're earth from the earth, and so they will grow tremendously, the microflora, with this. And again, you won't see them in there, but when you sit there and eat that little serving of fermented foods, those cultured vegetables, you're getting this really hardy group of bacteria that are going to go down inside and live there and grow and protect you, and they will ensure that you digest your food properly. They are your immune system. If you're going to be eating foods that have poisons on them, like chemicals and pesticides, they'll get rid of those poisons for you. They manufacture B vitamins. They keep the gut clean, which means that the rest of your body is going to be much cleaner, and that reflects in having much prettier skin, much prettier hair. You don't age as fast, and so on. So just a simple food can do so much for you. Okay, now I'm going to add some green apple, which I've just cut up enough to fit through that hole. And these could be hand chopped too. You don't have to put these through the food processor. A lot of times the vegetables that fit through the food processor are the ones that don't have much water in them. So something juicy like these red pepper, I wouldn't put in there. We just hand chop those, and then the root vegetables go through really well. Daikon is a little bit juicy, but you can definitely do daikon. Sometimes I put daikon and carrot together and make a nice blend. That's kind of spicy, radishy tasting.
Sometimes too, to make sure that he's getting the proper food.
Right.
And
so
how would you disguise it?
My son loves the sour taste. He loves the cultured veggies, but to make it more fun, I can mix it into a salsa. So a really good and fun recipe that I do actually is I just ferment tomatillos by themselves. They look like tomatoes, but they're green. So I chop them up and I ferment them with the culture starter. And then on the side, I'll make a salsa that is not fermented, and it might have like jicama, celery, a bunch of wonderful things like cilantro and lime juice. And once my tomatillos are fermented, I'll mix that together, and then it'll be the salsa. Then you can even take that and ferment it a little bit longer, but it's not as sour. And so that's the kind of thing that the whole family will eat, and it'll be wonderful, and they don't know that they're eating something really healthy.
Great.
And then also beets, of course, you know, they're phenomenal for your liver, but when you ferment them, they're even more phenomenal for your liver. So they're, some people actually don't like beets, but they love them fermented too. So it's one of the best things you can ferment. Okay, so now what I'm doing is starting to just put everything together in a big bowl. So we're putting in the cabbage and the carrots, and if I had red cabbage, I'd add that. It's interesting, a little bit of red cabbage definitely changes the whole color. It doesn't take much red cabbage to change the whole color. And you can also use your hands. Don't hesitate to use your hands. But usually I use 2 spoons. This one's down in the bottom, of course. Here it comes. It makes the job easier to have 2 of them. But hands are great. Mention that. So now this is all done. This part's done. So what I'm going to do next is make a brine. That's what we call it. It's just basically liquid. Now, sometimes I'll take about a quarter or a third of the batch and put it right into the Vitamix, and then I love it if people have a Vitamix. You don't have to use one, but you know, it's just such a great machine. It's so powerful. But you can take part of this and put it in there and blend it with water, and that becomes your brine. Now, the reason you do that is because you're going to take it now and add it back in, and then because some of the vegetables are liquefied, the microflora has something to immediately start working on. Because these little pieces are harder for them to break down, so you're just giving them something liquid so they can start to work right away. What we did in this case, though, is I wanted to put in some extra special things like celery juice, because that's so good for your adrenals, and I wanted to put in, we put in some lemon juice because we thought that would taste good, and this is also where I would add the salt. So let's do that. Let's just add a little bit of salt right now. Now, the salt can just be sprinkled around if you want to do it that way, but another way to do it is just put it right in the brine. And you don't need very much, just a little bit. If you're making these commercially, and more people are, the state law will require a certain percentage of your you will have to use salt. That's just the state law.
And what else did you put in here? You said you had lemon, you had salt, you just added salt.
Celery and
Green apple.
Green apple.
And herbs, a bunch of parsley and mint.
And mint, that's right. We just thought that's an experiment. We thought that would be good with the lemon juice. Now this little package contains the friendly microflora, the plantarum. And what I like to do is put this in after I've blended everything in the brine, because I don't like to whir them around in the blender. I think that maybe makes them a little schizophrenic. Okay, this would probably be delicious to just drink.
Yeah, it's a great smoothie.
Do you guys see what Anne-Marie's looking on the computer? Beyonce. All right, so your question of the day is this. What is your favorite music video? Go ahead and post it down below.
Music video.
Oh, yeah, you're looking at Beyonce's music video. This is Kevin Gianni and
Anne-Marie Gianni.
together we can change the health of the world one show at a time.